Hello, my name is Ben Walker and I'm here today to talk to you about some of the stuff that we're just not taught about at school. So with the help from yourself, I'll be diving into lots and lots of subjects that could include mortgages, buying a house, renting, moving out, bank accounts and all sorts. But today I'm talking about getting into debt. Now, debt's something that many people have to live with at some point in their life. It's a horrible situation to be in, but it is at this point just a fact of life, whether that be student debt or credit card debt or just a standard debt from taking out a loan, mortgages, stuff like that. It's something that it happens to most people and sometimes it can be completely unavoidable. But in this video I'm going to go through some of the most common causes of debt, and obviously I won't be able to give solutions to a lot of the problems I go through, but it can give you an example of what to look out for and what to try to avoid if you can. But like I said, sometimes it's just not possible. And the most common cause of debt is low income. Now, as we all know, there is a big cost of living crisis at the moment. So trying to balance the books with a low income, with the massive price rises in basically everything at the moment, it can be very difficult to do. So I'm not going to stand here and say earn more, because sometimes it's just not possible. It's all about finding the right job for you, finding the right employment, and there's not a lot of jobs out there at the moment. It's a very tough situation to be in. There's nothing I can really say to fix that, I guess. It's not other than finding a new job, a better paying job. So if you want to learn a little bit about finding a new job, working on your CV, interview techniques, there's other videos on this that could be able to help you. So definitely check out the rest of this channel, see what's there, see if anything can help you. Now, of course, the second most common is job loss. It happens a lot more often than people would like, but at the end of the day, if you do lose your job, the important thing is not to panic. There are actually still other jobs out there. While it may be crazy competitive in your field, or maybe very competitive just in general in your area, don't be afraid to really browse the market. If you do lose your job, that's when it's time to cut back. Don't think you can just keep your same standard of living as you did before, because you're just not earning the same amount of money as you did before. I've seen it happen where people lose their job and then they keep spending at the same rate, but they just don't have the income to match it. So they're just burning through their savings until they start having to take out debt after debt after debt. It's just not viable. So really what you need to do is take a step back, really decide what you need and what you can give up. And that's where budgeting really comes into it. Again, there's another video to do with budgeting. If you want to learn more, go have a look at that as well. Read the guide, learn what you can. If you are in that situation, just take your time to really sit yourself down, talk yourself through what you can do without, basically, and get hunting for a new job. That's the best thing you can do. Just keep your head up, keep hunting, and I'm sure you'll be able to find something at some point. Now, one thing that lots of people tend to do nowadays is they live beyond their means. If you are on a low income, like I said before, then sometimes it'll be very hard to balance the books. But if you're earning a steady income and yet you're still spending more than you earn, again, that's why you need to take a step back and really think, do I need to spend this money? For example, if you're earning a reasonable amount but you're taking 6 holidays a year and you can't afford to take 6 holidays, maybe cut that back a little bit, okay? Even if they're just weekend trips, because these costs really add up. So what you want to do, again, is look into budgeting. It's something that can really help, and once you start budgeting, then you can start saving as well and start building up a bank of money for you to fall back on if, for example, you did lose your job. It's always great to have that safety net there if you ever need it. Now, another thing with living beyond your means is a lot of people are buying brand new products on finance nowadays, whether that be a car, a new TV, a sofa, and while on paper that looks great, all you're essentially doing is getting yourself into debt with whoever you've bought that product from. So if you're buying a brand new car for £30,000 on finance, if the new cost was £30,000, on finance it's going to cost a lot more than that. So I personally have never bought a new car, and I probably never will. Just browse the market. There is lots and lots of options out there. even if you're looking at like very low-end new cars, you could get a better spec, a better model perhaps, a better car for cheaper on a second-hand market. Auto Trader, eBay, have a look everywhere. Same goes for TVs, expensive products. Don't just go out thinking you have to have the newest thing, because you really, really don't. Now, I've already mentioned budgeting a couple times in this video, and that's because there's not that many people who really strictly budget. I'll be honest, I sometimes break my own budget. It's not great, but I do. It's something that everyone really should be doing. It's a very good habit to get into. It can really, really lead to some massive benefits really later down the line. Obviously for now, it's going to be a bit of a struggle, but later down the line, you could really reap some really great benefits. Having that nest egg to the side from budgeting, if you've been able to save, that is. You could use it for a deposit, you can use it for a down payment on basically anything, holidays, whatever your heart desires, but having that nest egg there just in case something does happen is great for peace of mind. Now, one very common type of debt is credit card debt. It's very, very easy to get into credit card debt because it's so easy to just spend money on. But really, it's all about watching what you spend. Again, what you don't want to do is get an interest-free credit card, rack up a load of debt, because that interest-free period is going to end at some point. If that ends and you still have debt on that credit card, you could get smashed with a whole load of interest payments. So really make sure that you're keeping your credit card spending under control. It comes back to spending beyond your means, because a credit card is just taking out debt. If you spend on a credit card, you have to pay that money back at some point. So again, it's all about sensible spending. There are some types of debt, causes of debt that are unavoidable, like job loss or low income trying to balance the books. But credit card debt is not a great way to get into it. It's really all about controlling your spending habits, unless you really don't have any other option. But even then, there's various ways to make sure that you're not spending all the money on credit cards, because quite frankly, the interest rates you could get slapped with are massive. Now, if you already have a lot of credit card debt based over various different credit cards, one thing that you could do is have a look into debt consolidation loans. It would help you clear that debt and set up a more regular repayment schedule. It may be able to help you balance your books a little bit better, but if you are going to take out a debt consolidation loan, don't then immediately start spending on credit cards again. That's really not a good idea, because you'll be fixing one problem only to find yourself in exactly the same problem once again, except with extra debt. So just make sure you're being nice and sensible. Only take out the debt consolidation loan if you know you can control your credit card spending habits. Now, another method of getting into debt is student debt. It happens to basically every student really. It's very, very easy for students nowadays to rack up 60, 70 grand's worth of debt very, very quickly over the course of 3 years. Really, at the end of the day, it's still a debt, but it's not one that you should be overly concerned about, because the repayments you have to make are fairly small over the course of 30, or with the new system that's coming in, 40 years. And especially with the current system they've got going on post 2012, chances are probably not going to repay that for the vast majority of leaving students. But with the new method that's coming in, more people will be repaying, just at a slightly slower rate. So it's really, really worth considering whether you need to go to uni really. If you don't need to go to uni to get yourself a degree for your field, maybe think about whether that's the right option for you, or if you go straight into work instead. Think about what else you could do with those extra 3 years. And yes, everyone says, oh, it's all about the experience, and it is a great experience, of course. But is it worth the massive amounts of debt? I'm not sure. It depends on what you really want to do. Now, of course, another massive cause of debt is unforeseen costs that you just can't predict. For example, you buy yourself a new car, it breaks down. You just moved into your first house, the roof needs doing. It's massive costs that can really throw someone's life out of balance. Again, there's no easy way to deal with these situations, but if you are, again, getting yourself into quite a lot of debts in various different sources, have a look at debt consolidation loans, which may, again, be able to help, but only do that if you know that you can keep your spending habits under control. If you know that you can repay this debt consolidation loan, then have a look into it. But if you don't think that you'll be able to control your spending, there are other options out there as well. There'll be another video coming out as well about getting out of debt, so have a look at that. There'll be quite a few suggestions and options in there, hopefully to help those people who are really, really struggling. Now, the final one I'm going to mention, the way of getting into debt, is healthcare costs. In the UK, we are very, very lucky that we have the NHS. Typically, we don't have to pay for our healthcare. But if for whatever reason you do have to pay, that's completely unavoidable, of course. There's not much you can do about it. So again, it's all about trying to budget, balance the books, figure out where you can save money, where you need to spend money. It's not easy. So if you need to, for example, move in with friends, parents, family, then ask. If that's what you really need to do, then ask if you can do that to save money. You need to sell your car, take the bus everywhere. It's all about making either big or little sacrifices that could somehow keep you afloat. Now, hopefully none of these things happen to you guys, but in the guide that comes along with this, at the bottom there are some links to a couple of websites which may be able to offer free advice. So if you are needing advice, I would suggest getting in touch with those companies. There's National Debt Line and Step Change. Those are the two links on the guide. Of course, there'll be other ones out there as well, but do your own research and I'm sure you'll be able to find somewhere that could offer you at least some advice on how to deal with your debt management situation, I guess. Now, hopefully you've learned something. My name's been Ben Walker. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.